Good evening, Internet, and welcome to Kenter at Your Own Risk, episode 68, where we will be talking about House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 8, The Queen Who Ever Was, the Season 2 finale, or, as some people have termed it, the Season 3 preview. Anyways, I have had a relatively decent week since the last time we did this. I was lucky enough to be off when lightning struck down on my work site, at a place that I regularly walk on a daily basis. Outside of that, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Well, with that resounding...
Well rested?
Yes.
14 and a half hours do wondrous things for a person, sometimes.
Do you still feel tired like that?
No, I don't feel... No, it's not that. I've just had a nasty headache all fucking day. So, I spent probably, the first 6 hours of my day kind of mindlessly, watching The Simpsons. But not paying attention, just kind of off in my own little fucking world, I suppose.
I think the problem is Kent was going for his beauty sleep, but he realized he's not Russ's mom, and so it was just a waste of time.
She's everybody's beauty queen.
Just rub some caffeine on it, Kent. You'll be okay.
You know what? I do have caffeine pills. I could grind it up and make it into a paste.
Just start rubbing it on your gums like you're an 80s fucking business.
Absolutely.
I did not think crushing pills up going into a paste would have been my last.
You just gotta mix it with coffee to get it.
Are we turning this into Nightmare on Elm Street 3 suddenly? I feel like we are.
All right. Let's get back on topic.
I just took a micro nap.
Excellent. All right. So, I guess we will start this off. First and foremost, I just don't even like the name of this episode. And I'm already off on the nitpicking, but rest assured, I'm going to nitpick the shit out of this episode. Can
I ask you guys a couple questions before you... Well, you go ahead, but I just want to ask a couple quick yes or no questions before you get into it.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, can I go now?
Yes.
Okay, so did you guys like the episode? Chris?
Let's put it like this. I like this as episode 8 of a 10-season episode.
Exactly that was going to be exactly my answer, is that it's a perfect episode 8. It is not a good season finale.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at the way typically Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon have done their seasons, you have the big action episode, second to last, and then a breath and a pause before a cliffhanger right at the end of the season. This is the perfect episode to set up that action episode that would have come next. And the director even admitted that the whole reason that it ended where it did was because of budgetary cuts.
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about that for a brief second. The fucking idiot running WBD fucking Max and all this shit. His name, I think, is David Zaslav. And this fucking guy, all right?
Put him on blast.
Not only does he cut, which completely ruins the season. It taints the season, no matter how you look at it. By cutting 2 episodes, it taints the season. But this genius also said, I don't know, last year that TNT didn't need the NBA. So guess what? The NBA went and got new fucking broadcasting partners. They've been with TNT since the fucking 80s, the NBA has. And now they're just going straight up lose the NBA after next season and lose Inside the NBA, which is an award-winning show. And all because of this fucking moron's fucking ego. It really is astounding to me.
Did you see the news to go along with that for this week? Yesterday and today?
Probably not.
Warner Brothers Discovery is posting a $9 billion loss because they overvalued their TV channels And a good portion of that is based on losing the NBA contract. $9 billion loss because of this guy.
The NBA stuff, whether you like basketball or not, that fucking contract has been money. So it's a huge issue. And there's other bad decisions. This guy just really is.
Oh yeah, HBO has been prestige television since I've been a kid. You know, I remember watching it. You know, my earliest memories. You know, in 1982, 1983. They merged, and instead of keeping the HBO name, they decided to just change it to Max. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Anyways, now that we've ranted,
Kevin, what was your next question?
Okay, my next question is, okay, and I did like this episode, but I hear what you guys saying, and actually did not know all of that. So we lost $9 billion and 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, or House of the Dragon.
I think I had it confirmed reading something today that said that there's only 4 seasons, by the way.
Yeah, they just announced that this week too, that season 4 which I guess, knowing where we're at, 4 will work. I think it's probably stretched. I think we could have cut a lot of this season, gotten 3 solid seasons.
Yeah.
I think 28 to 30 hours probably would have worked for the whole story.
Yeah.
So we're probably looking at like 10, 8, 8, 8, 34.
That makes sense. I mean, as long as all of season 3 takes place in Harrenhal, I'll be happy.
Oh my god!
I mean, as long as all of season 3 takes place in Daemon's mom, I'll be happy.
Hey. All right, Kevin.
Okay, so are you excited for the next season? Did this get you at least? Do you anticipate it? Are you hopeful for season 3?
All right, the season 3 and season 4 are going to be just fine. It's not even so much the quality, although looking back on season 2, it just really, there are some complaints to be had here. But yeah, of course I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see how many people like backpedal once they're like, oh, Rhaenyra's basically like another Daenerys. Oh, we shouldn't have been backing her all along. That's just my guess, but I mean, it feels like that's the incoming thing because this show repeats so much of Game of Thrones. I don't really know how it ends, but that's just my guess, is that she's going to fucking go crazy too. So I'm excited for certain subplots that I don't know anything about. I want to know where people go, but did this episode make me yearn anything more for it? No. It just made me yearn for fucking episode 9 and 10. Chris?
Yeah. Chris.
Oh, I didn't know if you were done. The ranting is going strong. It leaves me trepidatious, Kevin, because like Kent's read it enough, and we know where at least the first episode, if not the first 2 episodes, are going. And if price is really an issue, they're going to blow probably more money on special effects in those 2 episodes than they've done in the entire show so far. So what is that going to leave us for the rest of season 3? That's what's got me worried. But content-wise, I'm excited to see what's coming next, because it's probably going to be one of the biggest battle scenes in the history of this entire franchise on HBO.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very excited about season 3, and I'm more excited about season 3 than I was about season 2. I really didn't know a lot about the history and all of the flash forward, so I really I'm not really still even caught up with season 1, except for the stuff that they expand on in this and going over with you guys. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm good if you guys are, and we can.
I have a question for you, Kevin.
I think it was good to get that out of the way.
Since we have a 2-year wait, are you excited for next year's, I think it's called A Night of the Seven Kingdoms spinoff?
No. Is it what? I don't know. I'm hearing about it now. No, what is it?
Chris, you can probably explain it better. With Egg and Duncan or something, right?
Yeah, Duncan Egg. So one of the many Aegons as a kid is I don't know if he's kicked out or has to flee or whatever from King's Landing, and he becomes a squire to a hedge knight, somebody who's a knight but has no title or land, named Duncan, and it's about their journeys around Westeros together and eventually getting Egg back to be King Aegon in King's Landing.
Now, is this the same Egg that Maester Aemon Targaryen was talking about in Game of Thrones?
Yes, that would be that one.
So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it. Although hopefully they don't lose another $9 billion between now and then. But so, and we're going to get content out of that show. Damn it! So, all right, let's start the review here. All right, very first scene we got. I love the autocorrect. Once again, it spells Thailand like the country. So Tywin Lannister, he's trying to work out a deal with the Triarchy. They want more than what he's offering, so they also ask for the stepstones. Basically, one of the ways that they plan to recoup some of their money and investment would be to tax people that wanted to pass through the stepstones. So Tywin agrees, but then he's also worried that Aemond may have him hanged. And there's one more condition. And I rewatched this just to make sure I was hearing it right. They say that he, the Captain Lohar, must agree to sail with him. And then immediately we see that Lohar is a female, so why the fuck did they keep... They refer to Lohar as a he 2 or 3 times before they show her. And I'm baffled. So, Chris, do you have any idea why the fuck they were referring to her as a he?
Because they... I don't know. I'm trying to phrase this. This is probably something you shouldn't have had. So, like... It's a woman and a lesbian. Like, she talks about having wives, but they didn't necessarily, credit female captains, what have you. So, they just talk about her as a man in all of those situations. So
okay. Also, I only just learned today that she's a YouTuber. She's not even like a fucking actress, and I'm sitting there like, why the fuck didn't you hire a professional wrestler? Based on everything I'm seeing, a professional wrestler would have been really great for this role. Whatever. I have more negative things to say about her later, but Kevin, what'd you think about this scene? Did anything tickle you in a nice way?
Yeah, I thought it was a great character. I think they probably hired the actress because they needed, or maybe not an actress, but they needed someone to really act.
I thought she was terrible as an actress. Probably the worst acting I've seen in this show. So, I don't know. Not happy. Move.
The worst acting?
Yeah, I thought she was fine. I mean, one of the things that my wife brought up this episode, and I had to agree with her, is like looking overall at this episode and the cast. She's like, they hired, whoever was the casting director hired the people with like the longest faces overall for like a whole cast. If you look at them put together, between her, Adam, Rise, Matt Smith, Aemond, like everybody's just got Gwaine. Everybody's just got long faces.
Even Rhaenyra does. Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah. That's interesting point. Okay. Next scene, we get... it's just a shot of Aemond being all pissy, so he had Vhagar burn down Sharp Point because that's him throwing a temper tantrum, and we're going to be reminded of this a lot. So... I'm really not sure if there's much to dissect at the moment. We'll kind of come back to it later, of course. Next, we have Aegon. He wants he's with Orwell, and he wants Orwell to give him some rum. And Aegon appreciates Orwell. He's very fond of him. Of course, Larys walks in. He wants to chat up Aegon. He tells Aegon that they gotta leave King's Landing, and they're not returning for some time. He lets Aegon know that Rhaenyra now has 3 new dragons and dragon riders. He learned that Aemond burned down Sharp Point, because we're going to bring this up time and time again. Possibly my favorite line of this episode was Aegon calling his brother fucking mad cunt. Aegon wonders what all of this was for. Then he's wondering why he has to flee, and Larys basically, he's like, this is really the best opportunity, to bail, because Aemond's probably going to try killing you, and if he doesn't, Rhaenyra's going to come and kill you. So you got 2 powerful people with dragons that want to fucking kill you. And Loras, he reveals that he moved a lot of the money from Harrenhal to the Iron Bank, so he wants them to go to Pentos to live for a bit. Aegon doesn't want to live with goat fuckers. I mean, that's a point of pride, I suppose. Aegon then goes into great detail about his cock and how it exploded in the fire. And how he can't even take a piss without it running down his leg. And we throw out a few nicknames, and Aegon likes Aegon the Realm's Delight. I liked this scene, and I don't think we see these 2 right at the very end, but I don't think we see these 2 in another scene, so this is worthwhile to discuss. Kevin, I know you're a huge Aegon fan, and I swear every episode I become more and more of a fan. Do you feel like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my, the thing that I wanted the most came true. And being an Aegon fan, this episode is so awesome and suspenseful. Starting with this scene, so there's that cut from Aemond, he's on the dragon, and there's that whole village burning, the moaning, and dragon fire, and then it cuts to Aegon in the bed, recovering from dragon fire, and it just kind of like lets you know, watching it a second time, I felt like, you're next. Aemon's coming for you next. And then Larys comes in and says the exact same thing, and if he doesn't, they're going to cut off your fucking head in the street where you hung those fucking rat catchers, and, the turnaround, it did sell, but it does seem pretty quick from him going like, well, Aemond is, going to try and kill me. I'll bring him in here and have him prisoned and, to, by the end of it, sounding like a fucking coffee creamer, like Realm's Delight, and I better get out of here.
I mean, at one point he was, like, trying to flex his nuts and then realized, like, he just has no power. It's just all in name.
Also no nuts.
Yeah, literally admits he has no nuts, too.
If Tyrion was around, imagine all the jokes he would make. After we saw all the jokes he made at Varys' expense, it would be
I wonder if the description of what happened got brought up because they wanted to have a callback to Ramsay eating the sausage, talking about Theon's fucking cock.
I could see that.
Talking about great cuts, right? One cut to another.
Chris, you got anything to add to Larys and Aegon?
I'm wondering where Larys is coming in with this, like, if he's playing the long game, that's a really, really long game that he's trying to play. And if not, is he honestly just like, I always wanted a little brother who was weaker than me. Nobody called him strong, and now I can be the strong one. I don't know what's going on with.
I think it's a little little bit of both. Like, I obviously Larys is definitely playing the long game. Like, this is his opportunity because he's not getting that opportunity with Daemon. So he's got to try it with Aegon. But I also honestly think that he kind of likes Aegon. I think, I don't know, I feel like there's an actual connection. Let's
look at, like, he's throwing it on the off chance that they're going to be able to incite a rebellion against whoever wins the war that's coming up, when he could just as easily be like, hey, let's just fuck off and never come back. Or even, I'm going to fuck off and spend all of that money that I've been spending, siphoning away for years, and just live a life of luxury for the rest of my existence. Yeah, so, like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, does he honestly expect his plan to work? Because he seems like he's too smart to think that, like, Littlefinger giving a dagger to Bran is going to not come back and bite him in the ass.
I'll toss out this. This is my big theory from this episode. So remember it well. I feel like in season 3 we're gonna see Larys and Aegon meet up somehow by chance with Laenor. Because
Laenor?
Didn't Laenor and his guy go to Pentos as well, Chris?
I don't know, because in the book,
he's dead, right?
He's dead. Or at least, they never entertained the notion that he's alive. So, but, I mean, we're already getting far afield, because what they've shown us in this is that we're just completely axing one character out of the whole story, so.
Yeah. So, Kevin, Laenor was Corlys's son, the gay guy that was married to Rhaenyra? To answer your question. And he never died. Him and the guy, I can't remember the guy's name, just rode away. So, I don't know. I've often thought that they'd bring Laenor back, and that would be an interesting thing, maybe. I don't know. So, all right.
You know what? I could see it happening, too, because Corlys is going to, be like, oh, Alan, you're my heir now. And then Laenor's going to come back to be alive, and he's going to be like, fuck!
More drama. Like, anything for more drama makes sense. And since Laenor was never officially killed off, I think it's well within play. So, alright. Next up, one of the most important scenes of the whole season, quite frankly. Rhaena is running around and finds a stream, and she drinks from it. That's the scene, and I'm left wondering, she's a great fucking babysitter, because I have no idea how long she's been fucking out there like Moses wandering the fucking desert, but, she's doing a great job, keeping an eye on the Queen's children. So kudos to Rhaena, and we will see more of her later, and then more of her later, and more of her later. So.
Not only that, but the Queen's children and the dragons and the eggs.
Yeah. She kind of has like a huge amount of responsibility, and she's like, I'm so bummed out I can't fucking do anything. I'm just going. I don't like Rhaena.
and this is another example of the fucking travel in Westeros not making any sense, because
yes.
The kids left last episode. And yet we've already had people going back and forth, and they still haven't arrived yet.
Those kids are in fucking Pentos with Reggio or whatever his name is, and she's just, yeah. Travel. It's great. All right. And going from one of my least favorite things to another is immediately we get Jace walking around all brooding, and he ends up at the big dining table, and he's immediately giving Ulf shit, and Ulf is just a fucking heathen. He has no like manners. He has no idea of, either he's just dumb as fucking has no idea like what the proper etiquette is, or he's just drunk with power, or maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know, but he was just fucking not refraining. He was trying his best to reel Ulf in, and Jace already being a moody little bitch, he's just not fucking having it. He bitches about Sharp Point because we gotta talk about Sharp Point, and Jace threatens he threatens Ulf, and Ulf's like, no, I meant no disrespect. So, Chris, is Ulf just stupid, or is he drunk with power?
He's stupid and drunk with power.
Excellent.
But he's stupid.
Did he make you laugh at all?
No. Yeah, I like Hugh. I like Adam. But, like, Ulf and Jace were, like, the worst parts of this episode.
Uh-huh. I was like, are they trying to make Ulf funny? Because I found him more cringe than I did funny. With the exception of asking for more of the little birds. I did appreciate that. But it wasn't funny. I just was like, I wonder how a little bird would taste. Kevin, did you find Ulf at all amusing?
Well, it was uncomfortable, right? And what I got from the second time watching it is this is like what happens when you put commoners, and Ulf is just a drunk at the bar. You take him out of that element, he's no longer fun. He's just an alcoholic. Like, now riding a dragon, he's that same guy, but it's like a completely different perspective. And he's just completely out of his element. And, you know, also, you know, is like proud of his, you know, ignorance, and, you know, like, in a way that's part of his charm at the tavern. But there is no charm with this royalty and all of these, like, high pressure situations. I mean, basically, he got the dragon just for free drinks. Free drinks. So I think he's a great character, and I thought it was great to not have him, you know. It is cringe. It is cringe, but it's purposeful, and I think it's kind of a reflection.
Cringe. Yeah.
Yeah, and like as like a reflection of what the commoners really are. Like, it's great to say, like, oh, we're an army of bastards, but this is what it really is. Oh, the 3 birds, yeah.
It's like, you know, the frat guy that parties, and then like a month later he's in the fucking corporate world and still acting like a frat boy. Just wasn't happening. That, or it also kind of reminded me of, if anybody here is a fan of The Office, like, Ulf was pretty much pulling a Michael Scott, which I can appreciate to an extent. But it wasn't funny like Michael was. Alright. Moving on. We have Rhaenyra talking to Corlys at the harbor. I'll be good if we never have any more scenes at the fucking harbor at this point. Or the shipyard, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They're talking about the new riders, specifically Adam. Corlys has regret about not really knowing Adam too well. Rhaenyra says that now she has a huge advantage with the dragons, and Corlys reminds her that, you know, Darren, he still has a dragon, but it's younger than Vermax, and I don't know who the fuck Chris, who the fuck's Vermax? Whose dragon is that?
Isn't that
Jace's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was that or Luke's maybe?
Okay. So it was one of her boys at least. Okay.
Yeah, one of the kids.
And then, of course, Helaena has Dreamfire, but to Rhaenyra, Helena's no warrior or worry to her, so, you know, that's cool. Corlys says that right now Aemond is going to be even more dangerous, and then, like, she immediately, like, switches topics, like, doesn't really discuss anything with Aemond, and goes on about the ship, the sea snake, and Corlys, he talks about Lannisters and Greyjoys, and now the ship is called the Queen Who Never Was, because he misses Rhaenys. And he he has a good line at the very end. He's like, and there is yet another player who is yet to be revealed, which will lead directly into seeing Daemon, but we can talk about this scene quickly. At this point, Chris, do you think Corlys really cares one way or the other? Is he just doing what he knows to do? And does he have much motivation left in him, or is he just kind of living out the rest of his life doing what he knows to do?
I mean, I think he's got more motivation in his head in like all season at this point. You know, not so much for Rhaenyra, but fucking vengeance for Rhaenys. You know, realizing that he's lost her at this point.
Yeah, like there's some times where he kind of acts like he's settling, and then there's other times where it's like he's like, I want to be the all new Corlys, and like I want to do this for Rhaenys. I want to, you know, as we'll see later on, he kind of wants to be a better father, etc., etc. But then there's like other times where he seems, I don't know, he's kind of flippant at times.
I would say that's probably less of Corlys and more the fact that we have different writers and different directors episode by episode. I mean, the same thing with Jace. Jace starts off fucking relatively the smartest and most upbeat he's ever been this season, and is turned into like a pouty version of Finn Wolfhard by the end of it.
Sad but true. Kevin, you got anything to add to this particular scene?
Yeah. So I love that everything is like Aegon's name, who Aegon's not in this episode a lot, but his name is thrown around a lot. Everything that Aemond is doing, it's all Aegon. Like Aegon's doing all of this. So it's cool to see what they think of his perspective when we know that, you know, Aegon is thinking about cutting and running and like living with the goat fuckers, you know? So, I did like that. I liked, and like you said, Kent, Corlys is doing what he knows best, and that's not being a father to his bastard sons. And I think it's hilarious when he was like, I'm doing this all for Rhaenys, and I'm not going to raise my bastard children. You know, it's just hilarious to me. Like, that, I'm not like the biggest Corlys fan, but yeah, I do think that he's into this. He's into this war, you know. He's definitely not into being a dad.
Right. Yeah. Soldier first.
At least that. Yeah.
Soldier first, second, third, fourth, father. You know, down the fucking 70s somewhere. All right. So, as I said, I like this little cutaway when he's like, there's yet another player to be revealed, and we immediately go to Daemon and Harrenhal, because that's where we just go when we're dealing with Daemon. Alfred has finally showed up, so I believe it's been a month since he left. I think he said it would... Or wait, did he say it would be a fortnight? I think a fortnight's 2 weeks. I don't know.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right, so it's been 2 weeks. All right. And he wants... Daemon's in a splendid mood, by the way, which we haven't really seen him too awful happy ever, so it was nice to see that. Alfred wants word in private. And, all right, I rewound this so many times I didn't hear it, but on my closed captioning while Alfred is talking, it says that he hears a whisper that says traitor, and they even like mention that like Daemon's like, you know, this place will play tricks on you. Did either of you actually hear the whisper of traitor?
Yeah.
Shit.
No.
Okay.
But I don't even think it said traitor. I think it said murmurs on my closed caption.
Oh,
yeah, it said traitor on mine, and yeah, you could hear it. But
okay.
I don't know. I got a whole new. We switched over from my Xbox to a Fire Stick this week, so like we did not have to have it on like 54 to be able to hear it this week.
Right. Anyway, I just found it weird. I couldn't hear it, but at least you could hear it. Alfred basically wants to back Daemon instead of Rhaenyra. And while this conversation's happening, Simon overhears it. Alfred says that Rhaenyra's intentions are good, but in this moment they really need a man. They need a king for everybody to get behind. And Daemon is amused and just walks away. So, I mean, we see more of this play out, but I don't know. We could talk about Alfred here for a moment. I will stupidly admit that I didn't anticipate him turning on Rhaenyra that quickly, and yet I couldn't be more pleased that he did. I don't know. I fully admit that. I didn't think he was going to do it like that quickly, but Kevin, did you think he was going to be that quick about it, or did you think he was going to take a little bit of time?
I was a little unsure if Rhaenyra sent him to ask him that, to like test him. So at least the first time. The second time I was like, oh no, I'm not surprised, but yeah, Daemon calls him out, being like, "Oh, I didn't take you for a turncoat," and they're all sexist.
Yeah, in the best way possible. Chris, did you see him turning that quickly?
I thought he would be dead by then, so no.
Yeah, I'm actually. I kind of wish we would have seen like a scene where him and his little posse ran into some raiders. I wanted to see Alfred and if he could fight, but we never got that. All right.
I think it's the army that impresses him, and that's probably why he's like, oh, this is the guy we need. So maybe that's why it moved so quickly. Because he was impressed.
I mean, he may have saw that Daemon appeared to have his shit together. I could see that. All right, next up we have Ironrod talking to Aemond about all the people who left on the boats to become riders, and Aemond says that no more boats come to the port, and this is going to affect the small folk above and beyond anybody else. And I think this was Ironrod's only scene, and obviously we're going to see more in Season 3 whenever that may come, but it was kind of a quick scene. Next, we had Helaena. She's talking with Alicent, and she's asking why like all the small folk hate them. Al gave her something to drink, which I was a little curious about. Helaena, she says that she was happier before she was the queen. Alicent asks what she thinks about potentially leaving King's Landing. Helaena asks, where they would go, and before they go any deeper, Aemond comes in, just fucking boss hog. He wants Helaena to fly Dreamfire and just attack. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to burn anyone. Al's getting in between the two, and Alicent reminds Aemond that Helena's the queen, and Aemond kind of comes back with a decent line, basically, that Helaena is weak as queen, just like her predecessor was, being Alicent. I kind of enjoyed that line. Then Alicent, she gives him shit for, you guessed it, sharp point. And Al says that they won't do it like this anymore, and Aemond leaves in a huff. And okay, like there's a lot more interesting things going on later with Helaena, but my question is, what is there any significance to what Alicent gave Helaena to drink, Chris?
No.
Okay. Kevin, do you think there's any significance?
I don't know. I didn't see any when I watched it.
Like, they didn't say what it was, but I read a cool theory that I can completely buy into, saying that Helaena is pregnant. And I'm okay with that. Like, I can't remember all the points that I read basing the theory, but I don't know. It was a compelling theory that's not going to play out, in my opinion, but I did like the idea of it at the very least. Anyway, it was nice seeing Allison. You know, she's at least trying to do right by Helaena. I think she's tried doing right by Helaena by and large this series, hasn't she, Chris?
I mean, the fact that she married her daughter to her son, whatever. Like, even before they were, king and queen, or even the heir, that seems a little weird to me.
On a separate note, I bought flowers in the attic today. It was on sale for $3, so I bought it.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, Kevin.
That was funny. That was a good one. That was good.
You would love Flowers in the Attic. The original one, it has Louise Fletcher as the grandmom. Oh. And she's awesome. It's got a lot of incestual values and some craziness going on. It's a Lifetime movie.
Not quite Nurse Ratched level, but yeah, she's up there.
Yeah. I
Nice.
love Louise Fletcher, so yeah, she was great. All right. Do either of you have anything you want to add to this before we move on? All right. So we got a quickie scene here. Allison visits Orwell and asks him for assistance in getting passage and for him to be discreet, and obviously we will talk about that later. We get all of one scene with Crispy. He's smelling, I don't know, some fabric. I don't remember. I assume that Allison gave him something and he's just smelling it because he misses Allison. And Gawain is kind of like all pissy and holding a sword to Crispin and threatens to send him to the wall. And then Crispin's just like, Allison saved my life twice. And after hearing that, Gawain kind of stops the tough guy act, and they have just, this talk about men being corrupt, and Gawain finds the whole conversation rather bleak, and Crispy, he talks about how powerful the dragons are, and, no matter their best plans, it really means nothing, because in his viewpoint, after seeing what happened at Rook's Rest, the dragons are just going to be in charge no matter the strategy. And he says that he will find relief in death, and that's all we get for season 2 of Krispy Kreme. And I don't really even care so much about the scene, but did they do a good job in making Crispin more... a more realistic character this season, Kevin?
I thought about that when I watched it the second time. I was like, wow, he is, as you've said, as a possibility, being very likable. He is definitely more likable. And I think that scene, even though Gawain doesn't have a whole lot to do, I think that's the best scene either of those guys had in the show so far, and Chris is just so depressing, and like you said, it starts with Gawain having a sword basically to his neck, or pointed at him, and it ends with Crispin just being so depressing and having such a bleak outlook on their life and their situation that Gawain's just so depressed he just ends up sitting down next to him by the end of it. Well, fuck. I thought it was an amazing scene, and I thought that was definitely Crispy's just Shakespeare moment.
I would say that was probably my second favorite scene of the episode as far as like the acting goes. I think there's one scene that I liked a little bit better on acting, but this was really, really good for what they had to work with. What'd you think, Chris?
Yeah, no, it was a good scene, and I mean, I like the fact that like Crispin starts this season like so full of hope, and by the end he's just like fucking broken. They're gonna burn the shit out of us.
Yeah,
we're all corrupt. We're all corrupt.
Oh, boo. All right, next scene. We got Tywin Lannister. He's in a mud wrestling match with Lohar. Everyone's laughing, having a good time. Oohing, ahhing. She's beating his ass. He fights back. She calls him Lord Tywin. She's impressed by him. She wants dinner. She asks if he's ever eaten the flesh of his enemies. Long pause. He says no, then long pause, and then smiles, tee-hee-hee, and it's one lame-ass joke, and wow, I am just very down on this character of Lohar. I don't know why, but I just don't like it.
I was honestly expecting her to make him go down on her when she asked if he'd eaten the flesh of his enemies.
That would have... You know what? That could have redeemed her a little bit for me. I don't know.
Was anyone, like, excited about the possible of cannibalism? Because I was.
Yes, like, they could have done something of interest instead of just, like, long pause, tee-hee, joking with you. Okay. I don't know.
I was like, now we're getting somewhere. We're, like, they're allying with cannibals? Like, oh...
We could have had Cannibal the Musical Part 2. I would have been all for that, because, I mean, Tywin sings in a few scenes later, so instead of just mud wrestling and not the kind of cool mud wrestling that, we like. So from that, we go to another surprising scene where Jace is brooding more. And then Bela basically just calls him out on his shit, and he's whining that the Riders are an insult to the Targaryen legacy and all this shit. And she's like, dude, you're sulking all over nothing. She talks about, how he's sulking about being Harwin's son and how he isn't the first bastard, and, he should be proud of who he is. And that was really Bela's... I don't want to say her only scene because she's at the table for another scene, but this was basically like her only real scene of this episode. Am I the only... Alright, Kevin, do you think Bela has just been kind of misused this season? Like, she could have had a little bit more of a role, couldn't she?
No, I'm good.
Fair enough. Chris?
I mean, yeah, there's too many characters as it is. Like, I would agree, I would rather have had more Bela than Rhaena, though.
Yes. See, that's the thing. I just don't... I have yet to click with Rhaena. And Bela... I haven't clicked with Bela, but she just doesn't bother me. Rhaena...
I think that the fact that we have a premarital group of people who are actually supportive of each other in her and Jace is, like, just so weird in Westeros. I'm not used to that.
Yeah. That makes sense. Alright. Another great scene. Rhaena's boots are falling apart. It's nighttime. She's shivering on the ground. That's the scene. Next, we have Tywin. He's singing a song at dinner, and it was at this moment, every time I see him, I'm like, who does he remind me of? He reminds me of the wrestler Edge, once Edge cut his hair. He looks very much like Edge. Anyway, Lohar applauds and calls him Lord Tyrod, because that's the funny joke going on that she doesn't get his name right. So he corrects her. She'll be pleased to sail at his side along with her captains, and they're going to sail for the gullet. Keep that word in mind, 2 years from now, because the gullet, it's important. They're going to sail there and go up against Corlys, and we get some chick dancing, but it's really nothing. It's late. Tylan wants to go get some sleep. Lohar stops him. She wants to have children with him, and she wants him to fuck her wives. And he asks her how many wives she has. And that's the scene. I think this was the last scene other than like the montage at the end with Tylan and Lohar. Chris, are you excited to see more Lohar and Tylan? Like, will it get better?
I mean, I don't think we'll be seeing too much more Lohar and Tylan. So, I mean, you know.
It is, without giving much away, do we know if Tylan is at the next big event?
I mean, I'm going to assume he is, just based on where everybody ends at this point.
Okay.
So.
Kevin, are you enjoying the Tylan Lohar stuff? Do you want more of it, or you good?
Well, I mean, I want to see what happens, you know,
At the gullet?
after. Yeah, is that where they're headed?
The gullet is the place to be.
I don't know.
Okay, that's where everything at the very end, that's where it's leading to, just to answer the...
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not like super excited about like their storyline or whatever, but it was fine for this. It was cool to see, you know, a character that I felt like didn't have a lot in this season, which is Thailand. Go and, you know, strike up a deal with like savages, tyrants.
Yeah, I just like that. He's a different type. Like, he's definitely a Lannister, but he's a different type of Lannister than, you know. I don't even know. Like, he's just a different type of Lannister. I find him probably more likable than most of the Lannisters in his own goofy way.
Back in his day,
yeah.
Lannisters were all bad.
All right. Next, we have the dinner table scene with Rhaenyra, Jace, Baela, Adam, Ulf, and Hugh. And Ulf is acting... Ulf at this point, he's kind of acting like that jackass in Dance of the Dead. That's where I'm at with Ulf at this point. He's just grinding my last nerve. But he loves drinking, and Rhaenyra's trying to do a fucking toast, and Ulf just wants more little birds. And Hugh and Adam, they're you know, respectable. Rhaenyra says that if they do well, she will make them all of them knights. So Hugh's like, well, what do we gotta do? And she says that Corlys is correct in that they need to go take flight to try to take over, you know, since the timing is good right now. Rhaenyra suggests slaying some innocents and breaking the will of the enemy. Gee, that doesn't sound familiar at all, Daenerys. And Adam asks about Vhagar. Ulf says that fuck it, he'll just take on Vhagar with Silverwing like a jackass. And Rhaenyra tries talking sense into Ulf, and Ulf just keeps talking back. Jace actually has one good line. He says, "You forget yourself," which I'm always a big fan of that line. Also, like, oh, you guys could use a sense of humor. Blah, blah, blah. Maester comes in with a message from Simon regarding fear of treachery. So, I found this interesting. Rhaenyra asked Adam to come along with her. And I just found it interesting that she chose Adam. Like, obviously she was not going to choose Ulf. That much was clear, but I could have seen her choosing Hugh or Baela. I don't know. Like, is there any significance behind her choosing Adam, do you think, Kevin?
I don't know. I think she has some sort of connection with him. I don't know, because she like went out on a dragon to like see this guy on a dragon, and like he gave her, I guess, the inspiration to, go through with, getting other people to dragon ride. So
I realistically thought it was like the connection to Corlys, like she's trying to make the hand's son doing stuff. That was kind of my thought.
I don't think she realizes that he's Corlys' son.
Oh.
No.
Well, that's my idea.
Yeah.
All these white people can't handle their liquor, Kent.
That much is clear.
My man, Ulf. Ulf is like my, would be like my best friend, drinking buddy, but then like really embarrassed of in like certain circles.
So, in my opinion, it's kind of like a middle of the road choice. Ulf's, as far as we know, Ulf's been on the dragon once. As far as we know, Hugh hasn't even been on the dragon. I mean, they could have been. Who the hell knows how time passes right now? But Adam has definitely flown more than the other two. So he's got a little bit more experience if she is going to have to go up against Caraxes and Daemon. But he's not, anywhere in the chain of command. So if something actually happens to her, she's not taking out Jace or Baela, which is where I think that the decision comes from. And, Hugh has been very quiet up to this point. We haven't really gotten a sense of who he is in this situation, and Ulf is definitely pissing her off. So if there's one of the three that she's going to trust a little bit more, it's going to be Adam.
Yeah, I could definitely see her not taking Jace for the chain of command. I could have seen her taking Baela, though, I guess.
I guess the other thing, too, though, is Baela is Daemon's daughter, and Jace idolizes Daemon, so if they have to have an argument, who's going to side with her?
That's
with
point.
no chance to go to Daemon. It's going to be one of the three people who owe their entire livelihood to her.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Fantastic. All right. Next up, we're back at Harrenhal, and we have Daemon. He's in bed. Alice is sitting at the foot of the bed and asks her if she ever sleeps and calls her a witch. And I immediately have to ask, why is she sitting on his bed? Like, there was no implication that they have like a relationship, but why is she sitting on his bed when he's trying to sleep? Chris?
I don't remember that, so no idea.
Okay. I thought it was really strange. Anyway, she's going to the
to see if he needs more drugs when he wakes up.
Yeah, she just keeps him on a steady fucking stream of fucking drinks and drugs.
They didn't have IDs or IVs back then, so she's got to just
Yeah. So they end up going to the Godswood tree. He tags along. There's some weird humanoid with antlers clopping by the trees. I don't even know what the fuck that was supposed to be. I don't even know if it was real or just something Daemon imagined. I don't fucking know. Alice says that when Daemon came, he was closed fist, but then he learned that this world will not be governed, and she goes on about omens, and there are omens there if you seek them, and she asks him if he's ready to command his own fate, and basically it's time to touch the tree and have a wacky vision. So I'm just going to... I felt it was easier just to try to list everything that was in the vision briefly, and then I found a better list online, so I went with the better list online. Basically, we have a man intertwined with a weirwood tree, which would be the three-eyed raven, and this person thinks that it's Brynden Rivers, a.k.a. Blood Raven. I don't know who the fuck any of these people are, but whatever. The three-eyed raven. We get White Walker with Army of the Dead. We got a red comet, dragon eggs and fire, and we get fucking Daenerys with 3 baby dragons. We see Daemon's dragon Caraxes lying dead. Daemon, I don't know if he's dying. I think he's dying in a body of water. Like, he's kind of trudging through it and then just falls. And Rhaenyra sitting on the Iron Throne. And perhaps most interesting was Helaena tells him, it's all a story, and you are but one part of it. You know your part. You know what you must do. Which leads directly into the next scene, but obviously, I think, we should probably talk about the vision. Chris, did you like the vision? Did Daemon know what to make of, like, the three-eyed raven, for example? Like, is he aware that that's a thing?
No, nobody is. I mean, literally nobody knew what the three-eyed raven was until Bran gets up there to the three-eyed raven.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was just like a known entity in Westeros or something.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, that his mysteriousness is the only reason that, like, the Night King didn't kill him before that, too.
What? The red comet, there was something important to that, but I can't... What was the importance of it? Do you know?
Wasn't it connected to the prophecy?
Yeah, that's why I thought. I just couldn't quite really remember, and I just got lazy on looking it up. But, okay. What'd you think about this whole scene, I guess, Chris?
It felt like fan service. It was okay. I mean, it set up something that happens later in the episode, which I thought was a good scene, but this did feel like fan service, and I could have done without it.
Yeah. Kevin? What'd you think about it?
I liked the most that editing where it goes from Helaena with Daemon into the next scene. I thought that was awesome because you're kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Like, you're kind of like losing, like, am I losing my shit now? Am I in Harrenhal with Daemon, with Alice sitting at the bed with a
the editing between, like, the scene transitions were really good in this particular episode. I'll give them that.
And and the fact that what I had going through my head was like, holy shit, Helena's in this vision, because the last time I thought it was Helaena, it was Daemon having sex with his mother, and it turned out, to be his mother and not Helaena. So I thought it was kind of weird, or I don't know, not that it really like means anything, or maybe it does, and I just don't know, but it was just all of that kind of shit. I thought it was really cool. I didn't care about the fan service stuff that Chris mentioned, but I guess now talking about it, like, so this is one of the first early visions of this shit, and I'm a little bit curious of what more we get out of it, if it's anything of substance, and get some cool stories, or it's
from his perspective. I mean, he's just seen some random silver-haired girl with 3 dragons because 200 years in the past. So it is interesting to think about, but at the end of the day, it really is exactly fan service. I have a question, but I figure I'll ask it after the next scene. So, as we talked about, it flows right into Aemond approaching Helaena outside, and like she's still kind of like talking to Daemon, but we transition right here. Aemond is more calm at this point. He says that basically the good of the realm relies on them and their ability to ride on dragons and fight and all this stuff. He wants her to come with him to Harrenhal to kill Daemon. She asks if she refuses, will he burn her like he burned Aegon? He says that is a lie, of treason, blah, blah, blah. She says that she saw it. She saw that he burned him and let him fall. She lets him know that Aegon will be king again. He's yet to see victory. He sits on a wooden throne, and Aemond will be dead. He was swallowed up in the god's eye and never seen again. He says that he could have her killed for the second time, and she says that it wouldn't change anything. So I'm left with two questions, and I'm not. You can at least answer one of them, Kevin. Does Helaena have some fucking like three-eyed raven shit going on, fortune telling? And my other question is, she mentions that he's going to be swallowed by the god's eye. I swear that that's a reference to something in Game of Thrones, but I can't remember. So, what do you got?
Okay, so yeah, I was like, is this just Helaena dropping spoilers? Like, is Aegon really going to be king again? Yeah, I thought this was great. I mean, I don't know. Like, does she have like, is she like communicating with Daemon, like in his dreams too? Like, I don't know. I'm excited. She's got some like, special powers. And really, I mean, I'm impressed with what they did with her character, because I barely could keep her even straight of who she was while she was picking out, the son for the son in the was it the first episode?
She became like super interesting this episode, right?
Yeah, and you don't see her a lot, but when you do, even where it didn't seem like she was just kind of like freaking out or just like getting attacked or whatever, playing with
catching
bugs.
her mom fucking crispy.
I find everything she does is very interesting. Telling her mom that she's not going to say anything, and the way she says it, like it was, maybe it's just this actress' choices. I don't know her name, unfortunately, but yeah, I think her and Aegon are my two favorite characters, and I know it's super fucking weird because I don't think they even really have any scenes together.
They had the one scene where he's going down the stairs and she's going up, and they exchange that awkward look in the second episode after the kid got killed.
Yeah, I mean, they might be in a room together, but like, that's the closest we get. So I just find it really, really interesting, and she's still like, yeah. So that's what I got.
Chris, can you add anything to the God's Eye thing?
It's a place. We've never been there. We don't know about it, but it's going to be important. More important than the gullet.
Okay, then I actually know what you're talking about. Okay, is Helaena fucking psychic, or does she have some powers, or is she just weird?
I mean, apparently she is now. Yeah. But I don't think that hurts. I mean, she's not like a super big part of the book, so giving her something to do and making it cool is a good choice.
Yeah, I liked it. And
I mean, to answer your question, I don't think she's three-eyed raven. I think, if anything, she's more of just warg.
Yes, that was the word I was trying. I couldn't think of warg.
Yeah, she's warging into her crickets, maybe.
I'm all for it. I'm all for making her a more interesting character. So yeah, I'm excited. Also, kind of curious about he sits on a wooden throne. I don't know if that was just alluding to the wheelchair, or if there's going to be a wooden throne later on. I don't know. I'm curious though. Definitely, we're going to see that at the beginning of an episode as a flashback before they go deeper into this. We will definitely see this scene again. All right. God, we got a long scene here. We got Rhaenyra and Adam. They fly to Harrenhal. Caraxes just hanging out. Troops are all freaked out by seeing dragons. Simon meets and greets Rhaenyra, and he tells Rhaenyra to see, for herself. Adam stays in the sky on sea smoke. Rhaenyra enters, sees a bunch of troops. Caraxes gets up and he perches up to get a better viewpoint of the shit going down. I found it weird, like, the troops see Rhaenyra, but they don't really, like, stop what they're doing. It's not that they're ignoring her, but they don't really pay her much attention whatsoever. And then it goes kind of quiet. Daemon wades through the group, and Alfred is right there. Daemon wasn't expecting her. She says that was a lapse in foresight. She says that he has done well here. She asks who Daemon is sworn to. Daemon plays it straight up and speaks Valyrian, talking about winter coming, and this is just the beginning. She says that he sounds a lot like Viserys. He says that they cannot withstand what is coming eventually. He says that the realm's only hope is a leader who can unite the kingdoms, and his brother chose her, so he bends the knee, calls her the true queen. Rhaenyra looks pretty stunned, surprised. Then the troops all bend the knee, and Alfred's really kind of slow and nervous to do it. Simon has this fucking goofy-ass look in the background that I didn't notice the first time, but boy did I enjoy it this time around. Rhaenyra grabs Daemon's hand, tells him to leave her side at his own peril. Then Daemon tries giving like one of those fucking rousing Braveheart speeches. It's cheesy as fuck. Alfred, he's backpedaling the fuck away. And Simon's in the background doing a slow clap. So kudos for Simon bringing me a little entertainment. I know this was an important scene because of the whole season. It's been like, will Daemon betray Rhaenyra? I get that it's important, but as far as the scene goes, it was fine. Like, it served its purpose, but I don't know. I guess I always anticipated it being something bigger than it was. Chris, what'd you think about the scene?
I liked it a lot. It was one of my favorite scenes of the episode. So I'm so glad
we're on the same
page. Like, to answer your question, like, I would bet that 99% of those soldiers have no fucking clue who that was. I mean, they know somebody landed on the dragon, but it's not like, you know, they live in America today where we can, you know, watch TV and see who the president is. You know, and, you know, to go along with that, you know, even if the president shows up, unless he's going out and doing like a formal review, you're still going to be dealing with getting ready to go to war, since you have two armies marching on you at this point of time. So unless she goes up to fuck with them, they're just going to continue on with what they're continuing on with. Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of such a long, meandering scene. I don't even know where else to go with it.
It was long. I think that, I don't know. I think that was probably what took me out of it a little bit, but, you know, Simon brought me back in at the end.
No, I think it was just,
Kevin,
do you think it was long just to, like, for, like, the anticipation, to, like, build suspense, to, like, what is Daemon going to do? Because she asked him, and then he, like, starts speaking high Valyrian, and you're like, oh, this motherfucker. Like, so I think we're kind of put in Rhaenyra's situation a little bit. What's the joke he makes at the end? Or, like, what does she say to him? He's like, oh, I tried.
If you ever leave me again, you know, don't do it again.
The whole
I tried. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At your own peril.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of their relationship, because I don't really remember much, except for all of the creepy grooming stuff from season 1.
Yeah, we've seen them together more when they weren't married than we do when they are married. Like, they didn't have a ton of scenes together from the time they got married to the time he went to Harrenhal. Like, their screen time's been very split.
Because Daemon's been in Harrenhal all season long. So I'm just excited that it feels like this is the end of, you know, Matt Smith and Mr. Smith goes to Harrenhal.
Didn't Alice tell him that
he'll
he's never
die here.
leaving Harrenhal?
Die there. Here, like I'm there. Felt fucking forever.
I thought she said he was never leaving there. So I'm still wondering how far away he's going to get, or if I'm just misremembering the whole thing. I don't know. Anyway, all right. This, to me, was the best acted scene, this coming scene here. We're at the shipyard again. We get Corlys talking to Alan. Corlys wants to set out on good terms with his first mate. He says that Alan is curt and silent. He needs to, be vocal, be a better leader, get the crew on his side. Corlys, basically wants him to be better, and then Alan just kind of fucking loses his shit, and Corlys is like, I'm just trying to help, and Alan kind of goes down this whole tirade about, how his dad is just now, finally trying to help him. He talks about growing up fatherless. He just gives this whole great speech, how he was poor growing up, just getting a few coppers, and Corlys would walk. Corlys and Laenor would walk past them, in furs, and get fancy foods to eat after dinner, and but now Laenor and Helaena are dead, so now Corlys is finally taking some interest into one of his bastards, and Alan's just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to just decline any offers of help. And I thought Alan's performance was fucking great. So, Chris, hopefully we don't
see. I like this scene, and that's what makes me wonder why you say you would have no problem with never getting another scene at the fucking docks. I mean, the docks are where it's at, man. The docks in Harrenhal. In fact, I think Daemon got doxxed in Harrenhal this season.
Oh my god, he did.
But no, it was a good scene. It was a really good scene. Like, one of the things I can't argue over this episode is the quality of the acting. Like, the script dragged in places. Some of the lines were stupid, but I think all of the performance were really spot on.
I would agree with my obvious one exception. So, Kevin.
Oh yeah, high drama.
Did you enjoy the performance here?
Yeah. Are you just upset because all of the money went into building those docks, and we didn't get the 2 other episodes, and we lost the NBA?
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to be bitter about this for the next 2 years, possibly longer. No, I haven't even complimented anybody on their apparel or their hair this whole episode, and I don't intend on doing it. That's where my anger level's at. So, we got a great scene coming up. Rhaena, she's walking on the foggy hills during the day, and she hears sheep stealer in the distance, and she runs towards it. End scene. Rhaena, at this point, I think, has had 3 completely awesome scenes. MVP of this episode, maybe the MVP of the season. Not sure. Speaking of people that could probably be used better, we get Rhaenyra and Mysaria chatting while dragons are flying. Mysaria reminds Rhaenyra that she's done something no one else has done, earned the gods' favor, blah, blah, blah. And Rhaenyra worries about all the deaths to come. Mysaria keeps encouraging Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra asks who pays the price. And quite frankly, I know this will surprise you guys because of my love for Mysaria, but I don't know. I just legitimately feel like this scene didn't need to exist. Like, I feel like this scene is almost kind of like the epitome of season 2, where they treaded the same ground so much it became redundant by the end of the season. To me,
I just want to know if they're doing it.
Did you feel the same way, Kevin?
They just made out that one time.
Well, Rhaenyra still has feelings for Alicent, but they only made out the one time, and I feel like they're just going to blow that opportunity to have them
It's
go
definitely
further.
there's a throuple coming up in season 3 because like Daemon and Rhaenyra have both been with Mysaria, and Mysaria's been with, so it's a power throuple.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, that scene was. Yeah, they probably just had it so they could didn't feel bad by not giving her anything to do, like the actress,
Yeah, they gave Mysaria one final scene for the season finale. I get it. It just redundant as fuck.
All right.
For me.
Yes, no, I agree completely with you.
Chris, did you feel it was redundant?
yes, it was not. No, I'm just kidding. I do agree completely with you on this scene.
Okay. Incoming the longest scene of the episode. Rhaenyra's in bed, there's a knock at the door, and basically Alicent has come to have a chat just like episode 3, but, vice versa. And Alicent admits to being mistaken about how things have gone, especially the stuff with Aegon. Al says that she only did what was expected of her, but she lost her way, or in some ways had it taken from her. Rhaenyra is just fucking snarky this whole time. She makes jokes or comments about Al hooking up with Crispin, and this was despite how Alicent was to Rhaenyra about these things. Let's see. Alicent talks about what she would have preferred if she wasn't ruling. She wishes to take Helaena and leave all this shit behind, just go fucking live their life unnoticed. Rhaenyra reminds her that shit just ain't gonna happen. That can't be done. Rhaenyra mocks Alicent about wandering in the wilderness. Alicent lets Rhaenyra know that Viserys never stopped loving Rhaenyra's mom, Emma. Rhaenyra questions why Viserys would have wavered in the end regarding the heir. Alicent says that Aemond will soon join Crispy in the Riverlands, and so this is like the time to come take over King's Landing. Alicent says that she'll have the guards lay their weapons down, and then Rhaenyra can take the throne and end this senseless war. Rhaenyra, though, just still steadfast. She asks what will happen regarding Aegon. Alicent says that he is broken and in pain. She thinks that she can convince Aegon to bend the knee. I don't know about him bending the fucking knee, given his condition, but whatever. Rhaenyra says that Alicent just wants everything to work out, basically just lovely. And Rhaenyra says that Alicent knows that for all of this to work, she just has to take Aegon's head. Like, it's a must. So Rhaenyra says that Alicent must make a choice, and if she wants the peace, she's got to make the sacrifice, a son for a son. But I'm sitting there wondering, okay, so does the grandson not fucking count? Like, fucking A, the rules here. Alicent, she starts crying, she agrees to it. Rhaenyra's crying. They're having emotions because they used to love each other, and Rhaenyra asks what she's supposed to do with Alicent. Alicent says just to let her go, live her life, and Rhaenyra says that history will paint Alicent as a villain, a cold queen who grasped for power before being defeated. Al's cool with that. She just wants freedom and to die unnoticed. Alicent asks Rhaenyra to come with her. because they want to do their thing, which, once again, we could have a throuple with Alicent, Rhaenyra, and Mysaria, and I'm all for that, too. Rhaenyra says that she has a part to play that was decided long ago, and Alicent leaves. Really long scene, probably even more stuff that I didn't cover, but my God, it just went on and on and on. And I know Chris is going to have some fucking clever response to my dumb question. I'm already aware that this question is going to get answered in a way. Why does Rhaenyra insist on this son for a son thing when the grandson was already killed?
Probably because she didn't choose it, but it's also a grandson instead of the son. But she's absolutely right. If Aegon's still alive, like over in Pentos with Larys, there's always going to be people saying that he's the rightful king, and using that to raise a rebellion against her. So it's, if nothing else, it's pragmatic, but I think she's also just going out of her way to be as painful as possible to Alicent over the course of this. And like you mentioned, she brings up a whole bunch of shit in regards to that, between the sarcasm and calling her out on her hypocrisy and all of that stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah, Aegon being alive would still be a point of contention. I don't know, I found the whole son for a son thing to be, I don't know, a point of contention.
All the shit in Aegon's name, Kevin, man. Like, he didn't even kill Luke. That was Aemond again. And they're all coming for him. But yeah, Chris, that was exactly how I felt too. If there's anyone to like contest the throne, they're a threat. Especially since they already took the throne. So,
jeez, does it remind you of anybody else? Like Daenerys when she found out that Jon was Aegon? I swear they've made Rhaenyra into Daenerys, and I'm just waiting for the fucking ball to drop. If my theory is correct, and I have no idea, but I swear that Rhaenyra is just basically a carbon copy of Daenerys. Like, I'm just waiting for it because she's had so many traits of Daenerys.
Dude, I hope fucking Aegon stabs her once she takes the throne. That shit would be dope.
What's really going to be confusing is when little Aegon and big Aegon are both alive and they're in the same fucking scenes together.
Oh, God. As if it wasn't bad with Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, and Rhaena. No, we're going to have...
And then there's going to be another Aegon in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. There was an Aegon in Game of Thrones. Aegon
Targaryen, yeah. Well, there's two Aegons, technically, right?
Aemon.
Was it Grand Maester Aegon?
Yeah. But, still, one letter difference.
Oh, shit, he was Aemond. Yeah. Fucking A, man. This scene was it was long, it was good, and honestly, had this scene, which goes back to the very beginning of this podcast, but had this scene happened and it was episode 8 and we were ready, in a few days to have episode 9, this scene would have been so much more impactful to me than it is now, where I'm just like stuck waiting 2 years. I think that's a big problem. But with that being said, let's wrap this up with the final scene. It's a fucking montage. We got Hugh getting his armor on, Adam getting his armor on, Ulf getting his armor on, Rhaena, she's running toward a hill, and she is all dirty. Alicent, she's walking away. The Hightower army marches, and there's Aemon flying Vhagar above. There's the Freys bridge. Was that the twins? I think. Whatever. We see. I think the Starks marching. Okay. Then we see the Lannister army marching, and then Daemon, he walks down the big set of stairs in front of Harrenhal. He's all armored up. Alicent, she's still walking. Tylan, he's on a boat with Lothar. The ships, they're cruising. Alan and Corlys, they're on a rowboat. Rhaena, she's still running. And then she sees Sheep Stealer on the ground eating, and Sheep Stealer growls. Otto, this was odd. Like the weirdest thing I didn't expect to see was Otto just in a cell looking horrible and haggard. We don't know where he is. Then Alicent, she is still walking. Larys and Aegon, they're in a nice carriage. They're going places. Alicent is no longer walking, but she's staring. And then we see Rhaenyra staring. And then we go back, and Alicent is staring. End scene, end montage, end season, end staring and walking. I don't even want to go into it. Kevin?
My man Aegon. I was so thrilled seeing him get away right after his mom, basically makes a deal to behead him in the streets. So, yeah.
Kevin, where do you think Otto is? I guess that's the most interesting thing I took from this whole scene is Otto. Like, I know that I don't think there's any rhyme and reason we would know, but do you want to take a guess where he is?
I have no idea. I was hoping you guys would know. I have no idea. So what was this?
I want to say Highgarden, maybe. Wasn't he supposed to go to Highgarden at one point?
In the book, he was the one who brought in the Triarchy, not Thailand. So who the fuck knows what the hell's going on?
Oh. Maybe the Triarchy has it.
Maybe.
Because there's like legitimately no
where have we not
frame
been?
of reference.
Well, we know he's not in the Eyrie because it's not a moon door. He's not in Winterfell. We haven't been to Dorne yet. Maybe he's in Dorne or Highgarden.
Yeah. I mean, there's possibilities. I'm really genuinely curious. Like I said, that was the one thing that I was like, gosh, I just want that answered. I don't care about any of this other shit right now. I just want to know where Otto is. So, yes, that's the one thing I'm anticipating most about Season 3 is finding out what's going on with Otto. Chris, did the scene do much for you, or basically, as we kind of discussed, it'd be great?
It would have been a great episode, a great lead up to episode 9, and I'm watching the timer as the episode is running on, and I'm like, it looks like we're not getting some major stuff this season because I got like 20 minutes, 7 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So it was a good montage, but as like a finale for a season was weak.
I'll ask this question because I was thinking about this. I still stand by the fact that I think I would have preferred the season ending with Rhaenyra with the 3 new dragon riders as like the show of power. I would have much rather had that been the ending to the season than this stupid montage. I know the montage is supposed to get me excited for the war or the battle at the Gullet or whatever, but a montage at the end of a season just doesn't do much for me as opposed to like a real showing of strength. If we're not going to have a twist ending, I would rather had the showing of strength.
And, I think it would have worked, like you said, it would have been great if, they had ended it in that particular, and given a clear indication of why Aemond was turning away, instead of kind of like, he's like, oh, turn around, and Vhagar's finally like, okay. And actually showing that, all of the dragons were out there arrayed against him instead of just kind of being like, oh, here's maybe 2.
It also would have kind of complemented how Season 1 ended. Season 1 ends with Aemond being very aggressive, and then they could have ended Season 2 with Aemond wanting to be aggressive but having to pull back. Like, it could have, I don't know if poetic's the right word, but it could have been something.
Yes, it would have worked. I think it probably would have been stronger, but it would have also left us with more shit we would have had to get over at the beginning of next season. So
that's what I was going to say. I think that
true.
The best part is that they can just like get right into it, and I'm sure they won't, but they could, and that would be awesome.
As long as we still have scenes in the shipyard in Harrenhal, things will be fine. So, before we get to the Game of Thrones stuff, I legitimately want to know, was this season, I don't want to say good, great, or anything like that, but did it surpass season 1 for a TV show, in your opinion, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm actually way more excited about the show than I was the last season. I'll put it this way. Like, I liked it, and kind of like House of the Dragon, I wasn't really excited of it. My girlfriend who got me into this also was even less excited. Like, she was just very like, Game of Thrones is a special thing, and that's what it is, and, we don't need any of this other crap. So we watched it. It was good. We liked it. We had fun, but I'm really into the story, so I thought that, yeah, it's doing what I would hope that it would be, that I would, and knew that it would probably take a while to get into, because you're like, oh, you get one season, and you just think about, like, the first season of Game of Thrones, which is great, but there's just so much more stuff to come and to even wrap your head around. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I don't think it was anywhere near as good as season 1. It was meandering. The pacing was off all over the place. We had one good action scene, which was really good. It was really good. Probably the best one we've had in the series so far, in episode 4. But it's another one of those cases where the cast is so big that they're trying to find shit to do, and so we're going, one scene per character per episode, maybe 2, depending on some of them. Some characters I like more in this season, some characters I like less, but I mean, like, Daemon was like sidelined for so much of it in just the endless loop of Harrenhal, that we missed out on him being one of the better characters from season 1. We didn't have Patty, except in 2 scenes, flashbacks, and so we're missing out on that too.
Even Otto for half a season.
Otto, one of the best characters of the first half of the season, is just fucking gone. So no, I mean, I'm excited for where season 3 comes, but I'm also glad that they said, they're going to stop at 4, because I could easily have seen them trying to pad out to 5 or 6 after the way this season kind of padded things in certain situations.
Yeah, I'm also agreeing with Chris on this. Season 1 was better because the best actors got so much more shine, and the cast was kind of kept smaller compared to this season. Losing Patty was such a big loss in the acting department, and the inconsistent writing, which we've been complaining about for, 3-4 episodes now, really did hurt the flow at times. And then, okay, here's Daemon. He's at Harrenhal. So Simon's going to say something and make me smile. Alice is going to be creepy, and Daemon's going to be drugged up. I've seen this, and I keep seeing this, and it just becomes terribly redundant. There was things that they could have easily cut in half and just moved the fucking project along, and that goes to Chris talking about the pacing. So, yeah, I liked this season. I had a lot of fun watching it. I had probably more fun doing the podcast than actually watching the show, I think, which is fine. Like, I enjoy just discussing it with you guys, but yeah, I preferred season 1. But I am excited to see where it goes, and by the time season 3 approaches, I'll have the damn book read, I think. So, with that being said, before we get to this week's question, I want to apologize because, I wasn't true to myself a couple episodes ago. When we were talking about secret villains, I gotta say, I take a couple things back. I will say this. I at first I thought Jorah was a villain. I'm going to say Jorah was not a secret villain. I'm just going to say the man did what he had to do, and then he fell in love, and he did dumb things. I don't know. That's relatable in its own way. I don't think that's a villainous thing. And Olenna, I don't think she was a villain because she had resources, and she tried to do the best for her family, and she tried keeping her granddaughter away from a horrible, horrible person. If we had resources and we had a grandchild that was going to get married to a fucking horrible person, and we could do something about it, I don't know. I don't consider that villainous. And third, and probably the weirdest one, I don't really think Robert Baratheon was a villain. He was just under the wrong impression. But I don't necessarily blame him for what he did, so I can't categorize him as a villain. So that's my retcon on that from 2 or 3 episodes ago. I just wanted to throw that out there and apologize.
Okay, so now that you're off your soapbox, what is your question for this week?
I'm glad you asked. So, at this point, I don't even know what the hell the question really is, but basically I asked you guys if you could redo the king, like, in the finale, who the king and his hand and the masters of the small council, basically. Who would you have had if you could do it your own way? And I was not very specific about many things, which led to a lot of confusion, and once again, I'm just an asshole in general. With that being said, Kevin, take it away. Run down who you would have.
Okay, so I always feel like your questions are just open to interpretation. So, like, if Chris interpreted it one way, I feel like it's fine. So, my list of, the small council and the king or queen, or king and queen, of Westeros. How do you say it? The realm? The seven?
Yes.
The seven kingdoms.
Of the 7 kingdoms. And what I think would be pretty interesting, and this was fun, and I did it just in the way that Chris listed them in our messenger. So I'm going to start with the queen, which is, I chose Sansa Stark as the queen, because, well, I felt like it has to be a queen, right? Because we had Daenerys and we had Cersei for so long, and that's kind of what the build-up of the show was, so I felt like I had to pick another queen. I didn't write someone for Sansa to be with, but maybe I'll get to that later. Anyways, Hand, do you want me to go through all mine, right? That's how we want to do it?
Yeah, just go through it all.
All right, Hand, Brianna of Tarth. I think she would be a good hand to Sansa. And also, I think that Brianna should not only have sex with Jaime Lannister, which would be the case if she was in the Kingsguard, because she's pretty honorable. So she probably wouldn't be pulling a Krispy Kreme. So, Master of Wars, which I never really understood. Can I ask, Chris, who was a Master of Wars in Game of Thrones? Or Ken? Do you guys know? Because
wasn't it like the Lannister uncle?
Did we ever have a full small council in Game of Thrones, though? I don't think we ever did.
Usually like 4 people.
Yeah, I don't remember this many people at the table.
Yeah, me neither. But I like at different points in time, there was definitely. I don't know if they ever talked about a Master of Law. We knew Whispers, we knew Ships, we knew Coin, we knew the Grand Maester, and we knew the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. I don't know if Wars or Laws was talked about much or if at all.
And then I guess for a short time, we had the High Scepter. Would that wouldn't be at the council though, would it?
That's not a small council. That's its own independent thing.
Okay. Because even when it was like brought in, okay, all right. Anyway, so my Master of Wars is Tormund. Master of Laws, Davos Seaworth. And I'm also trying to change this from, I don't even know who they would pick for them. And honestly, I think that maybe Sir Davos might actually get one of those. Maybe Laws. Anyways, Master of Whisperers. I picked Arya because of her Jaqen Jagar experience. I think that would be because she can just basically pretend to be anyone and get dirt on anyone. You know, also be a badass high trained assassin. So I think Arya would be the best Master of Whisperers. Though I changed it a few times. Master of Ships, Salador San. I know Yara would be the obvious choice, but I think you know, they didn't. My choice of underdeveloped character, Salador San, I had to pick him to give him something to do. Master of Coins, Edmure Tully. I think we should give him something also nice after being locked up by the Freys for so long. Grand Maester. I had a really hard time with this because Sam is the Maester at the end of it, and he's like the best and really only choice. But I chose Brandon Stark. I also thought about Helaena. I think, is that her name? Helaena?
Helaena? She's dead.
No, not her. The one that Cersei had.
Ilaria.
Ilaria.
Yeah.
I thought about
Sand?
her because, yeah, she's got those poisonous lips. So she knows like something about like chemicals and I don't know. So, but yeah, I picked Brandon Stark. And for down to the last one, the King's Guard. I picked Grey Worm because really I didn't want to stick anyone else into a position of not having sex or being able to get married. Because I think, you know, so that's my list. There's a couple people not on there. And specifically Jon Stark, because I think, honestly, he's done enough. So that's my list.
All right. Chris?
All right, I got to go into why the ones we got were so shitty in the first fucking place.
Excellent. I love negativity.
Okay, so...
Of course.
So first off, Bran as the fucking king. Okay, so it comes down to two questions. But is a three-eyed raven immortal, or is he not immortal? Because it kind of seems like they're implying that he's immortal until he gets killed, except that now in House of Dragons we see that there's a different three-eyed raven before the three-eyed raven who Bran replaced, so maybe not. But either way, he can't have children. So they're either going to start to resent the fact that they're ruled over somebody whose head is in the clouds and not paying attention to what's going on in the kingdom on a daily basis in hundreds of years, or they're going to start resenting the fact that he doesn't have a son and he's not paying attention enough in order to choose an heir, and you're going to have a replay of this whole situation all over again, you know, whenever that comes to fruition. B, why the fuck does Sansa just get to decide that the North is its own fucking kingdom?
Thank you.
As soon as you do that, Dorne's going to be like, we were the last ones conquered. Why are we not having our own kingdom?
It made no sense. Yeah. It made no sense, and nobody else stood up and was like, well, we're going to be independent too. Like, Yara didn't say, you know, the Iron Islands were going to be independent. It made no sense that Sansa was the only one that said that and got her way. No sense.
And to go along with that, because I think they kind of gloss over this at the end of the show, but we know that winter is still coming. It wasn't just the whole idea of the whites. So you're looking into a decades-long winter where everything's going to be shitty. You're coming off of multiple wars. All of the common people are going to be fucked over in the first place. They haven't been planting. the Highgarden got fucking raped, and that was the breadbasket of the entire fucking Seven Kingdoms. So, if nothing else, you want to be drawing the Seven Kingdoms together, working together to rebuild, not splintering them off and splitting them off. To go along with that, you're going to need somebody who actually understands commerce as Master of Coins. And as much as I love Bronn as a character, making him the Master of Coins because he likes coin isn't that a good decision. I don't know. There's just lots of issues to go along with this. We see.
You never give. Well, I do want to say, you never give Master of Coin someone who has a hooker problem.
Yeah, no shit, man. So we end up seeing a lot of people at the council meeting, but we don't know what their exact positions are. But anyways,
yeah. Well, what was Podrick?
Yeah,
was he just official wheelchair pusher?
Well, Podrick, we got Davos. We don't know what he is.
Davos
Tyrion's
was
there. We
shipped.
don't know what he is. Yeah, was he ships? I don't remember everything, but
yeah.
Tyrion's the hand again, isn't he?
Tyrion's hand. Davos is ships. Grand Maester is Sam. Bronn is Coin, and Brienne was, I assume, Lord Commander of Kingsguard.
Yeah, I believe so. Okay, so we get into mine, which is more of a conciliation about what I think would be best for the people, and not just individuals. So right off the bat, I'm letting Arya wants to leave. Arya can go fucking leave. She fucking can go kill the rest of the other Night King that exists on the other side of the world or something. So instead of allowing the North to split off, but wanting to pull them into the kingdom even tighter, we marry Gendry and Sansa together, and so we have a Stark and a Baratheon bringing the North and the past legitimate king into a unification.
Chris,
Yes?
I was going to pick Gendry as the person to marry Sansa, so that is crazy.
I was hearing some of this,
because of that. Okay,
and then he'll be able to tell which of the sisters was better. I don't know. That's just, anyways. We kick Tyrion out of the hand spot because he's proven that he's one of the fucking shittiest hands that has existed since after season 2. And we give that to Davos, who is the only person there who was a commoner before this, and he's not a fighter. He's not necessarily. He's a good sea captain, but he's not necessarily a good trader. And I think there's somebody else who you can give Master of Ships to. So I think Davos, at this point, he's also been hand to 2 separate kings. Might as well make it 3, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of compassion for the people going forward. And again, since there's now no reason to force them north of the wall, why are you sending all of the wildlings back up into the north when you have, I'm assuming at this point, thousands and thousands and thousands of northerners who were killed en route for the White Walker army to get to Winterfell, even after they passed by the wall. So you've got all this empty space. So you keep the wildlings in the north, swearing fealty to the Seven Kingdoms, and you make Tormund the Master of War, just like you said, Kevin. Good choice. Since I didn't really have anywhere else to put her, I threw Lyanna Mormont in as Master of Laws because she seems like when she gets older, she's going to be able to fucking lay down the law.
She's dead.
She's dead?
She got killed by
then I guess we can't do that.
By
I don't fucking remember.
The giant.
Don't ruin it for me. Don't ruin it for me, Kent. Okay, well then we can't give that to her, so we will throw that to... Okay.
Robin?
No, fuck that.
People down the hole. That's the law, gravity.
Okay, so my Lord Commander of the King Guard goes to my first choice then, and Bronn becomes Master of Laws because he's probably broken more of them than anybody else on the council.
Good choice.
Yeah, he knows how to deal with the criminals because he's been one. I think, however, having an immortal, all-seeing Master of Whispers in Bran makes a lot of sense. because then he doesn't have to worry about ruling, and he can, just take his time to let people know that, like Jon's Aegon and, whatnot. I give Yara Master of Ships. Tyrion, being a Lannister who shits gold and having at least a little bit of responsibility with growing up in Casterly Rock and having dealt with the politics and the commerce his whole life, becomes Master of Coin. Sam stays the Grand Maester. And since I had to get rid of Bronn as my Kingsguard, we give it to Drogon, because everybody that Brienne was Kingsguard to ended up dying, so we won't make her, end up responsible for Sansa's death. And, there's no other dragons for Drogon to fuck, so I mean, that whole celibacy thing kind of works out for him. So, there you go.
Nice. Now, you'll be surprised I didn't choose Gendry as my king. I feel like that was expected of me. And I went a very boring route. Just because I recently watched that damn episode yesterday, I'm making Jon the fucking king. Fuck it. He should have been the king. He's the one that everybody liked. He gets shit done. So I'm making him king, and I'm making Samwell Tarly his hand. I could have gone Davos, but I just wanted Samwell in a different role other than Grand Maester. So I went with Samwell because he did give Jon a lot of good advice. Seems pretty reasonable. Plus he has Gilly who gives him good advice too. Regarding the Masters, Master of War, I really reached for this, but I felt bad for this guy. And I'm thinking, out of all the fighters remaining, aside from Jon, I would pick Dario Naharis. Like, that dude fucking got shit done. He was a good fucking fighter. I'm guessing he's probably a little resentful that he didn't get to fucking come over to fight for his queen. So, yeah, let's give it to Dario. The second Dario, not the first Dario.
My question, though, becomes, A, how do they even know who Dario is to invite him over there? And B, you think he's going to come over and be like, hey, you just killed my bitch. Let me go work for you now as your Master of War.
Rest assured, Chris, this isn't the most illogical choice that I have on my list. To answer your question, clearly Daenerys and Jorah talked to Tyrion about Dario and his great deeds, so Tyrion's well aware of who he is.
Oh yeah, that is true. Tyrion did know.
Master of Laws was probably the most difficult one, and since I didn't like Podrick just being the official wheelchair pusher, I'm making Podrick the Master of Laws. I don't know. He seems like a good dude. I would trust him to make good decisions. Master of Whispers, I can't remember. I think Kevin said Arya. I went almost Arya. I went with Jaqen for basically the same reasons. I mean, he's going to have connections, and he can wear faces. He can get shit done. I don't know. I assume he has a pretty solid network. I don't know how reliable. I think he's reliable. So, he's Master of Whispers. Now, speaking of really bad choices, Master of Ships. I didn't want to choose Yara or Arya because both their names have two A's, a Y, and an R. So, yeah, you think about that. I chose Robin because he's got to learn to do something, man.
Because he's from the most landlocked portion of the Seven Kingdoms.
The Master of the Moon Door needs to be the Master of Ships. Just, I remember, I'm watching him sitting at that meeting, and, aside from Edmure gets treated the worst, but aside from Edmure, I think Robin gets the shaft the most, so I wanted him to have a place on the small council. Maybe he can grow up to be something useful.
The Master of Breast Milk?
breast milk, you make my day.
Now on the high seas.
Master of Coins, I am absolutely going with the joke that I said I was going to do. I went with the Slavers of Marine because, they know how to make money. And I'm sure they would work for them because, they're just pissed off at Daenerys. They spited her and, they want to make that money. I trust them. Grand Maester, I thought long and hard about this, and it has to be Bran, because I feel like a huge part of being a Maester is knowing history. There's nobody there that knows history or has access to history better than Bran. Now, granted, he's not going to be able to operate, but aside from, the healing stuff, nobody knows history better than Bran. So I gave him a role, and then he can just fuck off. And Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, in hindsight, this is a terrible choice because he always said that he was a bad fighter. But I thought, you know what, Davos, he's not getting any strange. So fuck it. He was a good leader, he just wasn't a good fighter. I don't know if you have to be a great fighter to be the Lord Commander. You're just commanding people. So I went with Davos because I like Davos. And that's my really, really, really shitty choices. Super proud of myself.
Who is Jon Snow's queen? Because the history of Lord Commanders is that they're always banging the queen.
I mean,
So
I like how you say Davos isn't getting any strange, and he's got 7 children.
Yeah, but he's the Onion Knight. He's got a smell of onions. I don't think he's getting any strange in his 60s.
I mean, at that point, you've been fucking for years. You know that they're going to keep fucking.
Oh, God. Yeah, my biggest regret is Melisandre dying because I really wanted to make her something important. I would have married Jon to Melisandre in a heartbeat. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to marry Jon to the other Red Priestess that was available for 2 whole episodes and then just disappeared. Fuck it.
The Marine one?
Good, I hope.
Yeah, because
one who was over in Marine?
At least that way, if Jon gets fucking stabbed again for the Watch, he'll have a Red Priestess to revive him. Makes sense to me. So, yep. There you go. That's my shitty list. And with that, we wrap up, and I get 2 years to think about really bad questions for season 3. I can't wait.
I mean, 2 years from now, it's going to have to be about season 1 of House of the Dragon.
I'll rewatch all of Game of Thrones. Or, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just rewatch Game of Thrones. I was going to say I'd start a new series, but I'd have to be a series that had a certain amount of seasons, and there's not many shows that made it that long. So, we'll figure something out.
Lost. Put Lost on the list if you need a show.
I think I'm openly rebelling against Lost because everybody else tells me to watch Lost. That's my attitude. I do too, actually.
I think
there's
you'd
a lot
like
of
it,
actors
though.
I like in the show, so I'll eventually get around to it. My big thing right now, I just want to do The Last of Us and I want to do The Boys. Those are the 2 shows that are on my radar between now and October. So, with that being said, those are my future things that I'd like to watch, but we can talk about things that we've watched in the past week. Chris?
Well, I started Abigail, but I didn't finish it.
I noticed.
What else did I watch? I watched the first director's cut, Rebel Moon, which was definitely better than the original. You can definitely see where the stuff that got pulled changed the context of the movie. But there was surprisingly way more sex than I was expecting in that, so that's interesting. Same thing, and so far I've watched about a third of the second one as well. I know I've watched some other shit, but I can't fucking remember. But I am going next week to go see Aliens Romulus in IMAX. I've already got the tickets, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and apparently, I'm really glad I didn't go to see Borderlands because that is getting fucking savaged right now.
That makes me sad, but it really seemed inevitable.
I think at one point it only had one positive review on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. That's probably one too many, but wow.
I saw one that was like a C. Like they gave it a C, but then they like said it was a completely negative review.
Oh, it's up to 6% positive now.
Yeah, that C must have really raised it from 0. Yeah, I mean, you can only take so much of like how bad could it be. I mean, I hear video game. Basically, what Chris said last week was kind of how people are predicting it to be. But some people say that it's kind of like so bad it's fun. So I'm excited about that.
In like 5 to 10 years, it's going to get that reputation of being something stupid to watch with friends, and you can laugh at how bad it is. But right now, to ask people to spend, $10-15 on a ticket to go see shit, most people aren't down for that. I think that's, we've seen a lot of shitty movies get, a revival, 5-10 years down the road.
And there's a lot of good movies. I think Twisters is still in the theater, which is a great blockbuster kind of like PG-13 film, and then you have Deadpool and Wolverine. So we got some.
Oh, there's a bunch of really good horror movies out right now too. I mean, if you can find them, depending upon where you're at, between Oddity and Longlegs and shit. What was the Trap? Well, I haven't heard too many good things about Trap either, but Maxine. So you got Alien coming out next week. Yeah, a lot of really good horror out right now. So yeah, like you said, why waste your money to go see something that everybody is saying is shitty? Oh, and apparently the Umbrella Academy Season 4 came out, so I'll probably be starting that tomorrow.
I gotta do Season 3. I watched just a little bit of it, and I didn't like Season 3. Like, the first episode, I think I watched it, and I was like, this doesn't have the same vibe that I wanted, but I heard it gets better. Would you agree that it gets better?
Yeah, I like Season 3 a lot. I don't remember too much about the first episode comparatively. Oh, I think it had the dance off, which I enjoyed. So,
then that's on Netflix. The whole Netflix problem. I'll suck it up and eventually get Netflix again. And is that all you watched?
Yeah, for me that is all I watched.
That's quite a bit. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short. I've been watching Lost. I did watch some new movies. Me and my girlfriend, we watched Personal Shopper, though, for, I think it's like 2016 with Kristen Stewart. Have you guys seen that? With the Ghost Story?
I have not seen that one, but I know what it's about, and I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not horror, but it's definitely a Kevin kind of movie, and it's got a very cool kind of way of storytelling about it. And it's very French, but it's in English. So, but it's a very French feeling film. Yeah. And what did I see this week for new movies? I saw Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire. Which I thought was decent. Atlas with J-Lo, that was on Netflix. That also I thought was decent. And Arcadian, the Nicolas Cage monster.
How was that
movie?
I was excited for that.
It's okay. It's not. It's in the same spot as Quiet Place Day One is, which is all right, but it's all right. It's cool. I don't know if I'd watch it again, but I also am like, well, maybe I would. I don't know. So, it's cool. It's worth checking out, at least as like a streamer, like kind of movie, like, yeah. And then, did I see anything else? I think that might be it. I do want to watch the Rebel Moon, so your review of that, Chris, actually has me pretty hopeful, because I liked the first Rebel Moon movie, and then the second one was okay, but I liked it much, much less. So, they're good, not great. I'm just kind of excited that it's like a new space opera thing, and it's kind of cool.
I mean, I thought especially the first time I watched it, I thought the scenes were just beautiful. Like, if nothing else, Zack Snyder can create a beautiful fucking panorama on screen.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So, but yeah, that's it for me. So I'm excited to do it. I wanted to do both in one day, but I was like, man, that's like way too much for, because I wasn't super impressed with the second one.
And every time I started trying to watch it, my wife came in and like, oh, let's watch something else. I was like, oh, of course. I sat down 20 minutes ago. Why would I expect to get to watch my movie? So, it took me like 7 hours to watch a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, 3.5 hours, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I think it's 3.5 for the first one, and the second one is like 2 hours and 53 minutes.
Yeah, so that's a good all day, like, marathon. So I don't know, maybe Labor Day. I still need to watch John Wick 4, which I have on my Vudu, but it's the only one I haven't seen, and it's like almost 3 hours, and my girlfriend hasn't seen any of them, so it's one of those, I don't know, like, when do I get 4 hours by myself so I can watch this thing?
I still haven't watched any of them, but I own them all, I want to say. I'm pretty sure I do. Actually, I just bought a few movies today. I bought Flowers in the Attic, and I bought another V.C. Andrews movie. I mean, they're all about the same fucked up, twisted incest family shit, so I'm excited to see whatever the other one was I bought. And I got 1 hour photo, and the original Judge Dredd was Stallone. But I didn't watch any of those today. I did, though. I'm finally keeping my commitment to excellence. I did watch Abigail. I know I've been talking about it for probably close to a month at this point, but I did finally see it, and I must say it's probably the best vampire movie I have seen in years. I liked Renfield. I really did, but I did feel it was a little overrated. I feel Abigail was fucking good. It had some comedy. It had a really good performance by a dude named Dan Stevens, who I don't really know.
Really? You don't know Dan Stevens?
No, I looked him up. What was that?
You didn't see The Guest?
I did not see The Guest, and actually I looked him up very recently because The Guest was on sale somewhere.
Was he the cop in the movie?
Yeah,
he is.
Cop,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he was good.
I really liked him. The girl that plays Ant-Man's daughter's in it. The older sister from Scream 5 and 6 is in it. Even fucking Gus from Breaking Bad. Like, the dude who played the Blob in Wolverine Origins was it. I don't know. It was just an awesome cast. And I had a wonderful time. And I was surprised because after the first half hour, I was like, I feel like this is going to just fall into territory that I'm already kind of bored with. It's one of those movies where you knew most of the plot before you saw anything. Like, you already knew what it was, but man, those people that made the movie Radio Silence, I want to say, they made Southbound, they did Scream 5 and 6, and Ready or Not. Ready or Not is a really good comparison. If you liked Ready or Not, you will probably like Abigail. So I'm giving it a very glowing review. I would probably give it 7.3, 2, something like that. Like, it's a really high rating for me.
Wow, that's really high for you.
Yeah, I had a blast with it. So I don't know. I'm a little worried. I know probably later this week I'm going to do First Omen and Immaculate back to back, and I'm not sure. I'm going to like flip a coin to decide which one goes first. But yeah, I was just happy to find a movie that I really, really liked. So, yay. And I've watched more Simpsons, but I'm at the point where I watched the last great episode of The Simpsons, so now it's all like getting worse and worse, and I'm getting kind of bored with it. So I'll be watching something else in the near future. Possibly get back into Archer. I didn't watch a ton of Archer, so I think I may try to binge that.
You're so dead to me.
I have an Archer shirt that says "I do me."
I love Archer. I fucking love that show.
I need to watch Archer. I didn't think Christian Slater. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in it until like season 5, I think. But yeah, he's good in it. I mean, fucking H. John Benjamin fucking rocks.
Yeah,
Aisha Tyler's really fucking hot too. Just throwing that out there.
The cartoon.
Well, yeah, in the card, but in real life as well.
Okay.
Actually, I need to catch up on Bob's Burgers. I don't think I watched any of last season, so that's another thing I can get caught up on. I actually really like... I'll give another good compliment here. I'm really digging Disney's app layout, by and large. It's one of the best out of many, many shitty ones. And I like that it's incorporated Hulu a lot more, to the point where I rarely open up Hulu anymore.
I told you what's coming too, right?
Where they're just combining everything, right?
Yeah, Hulu, Disney, and Max are getting combined for like $7 extra for Max over what you're already paying for Disney and Hulu.
Are they dropping ESPN?
I don't know, but since I never watch ESPN, that wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, no, it would me for a couple of reasons, but that's neither here nor there. It's cool though. I like having a nice interface. So yeah, I'm excited for anything in the future.
I don't like that Hulu and Disney are combined. Like, for Hulu, I don't mind, but like Disney, when I go to that channel, like, I don't feel like I should be seeing like the Alien movies or Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, no, I agree. Seeing shit show up on my son's fucking iPad when he goes in to watch, like Enchanted or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see
Poor Things is on there.
Yes, it is.
He doesn't need to watch that. He doesn't need to watch.
Well, it starts out like a good fantasy.
Like over in the UK, this has been the way that it is. They combined Disney and Hulu a couple years ago into one app. Like, we're just kind of slow here.
I don't like how the format of it is either. Because like when Disney was, you got new movies, it's like pops up, it's on there, but now it's like shoving all the Hulu shit down your throat. But like, I've had both for so long, I like the separation of it. But
they could actually, I wouldn't be opposed to, as soon as you open the app, like, you got two squares, Disney or Hulu, or a third square for Max, and like, I'd be okay with that. Like, it's all in one app, but you open it and you get that choice right off the bat. I think that'd be a fair compromise, right?
I mean, I will say this, like, compared to the Xbox HUD going to the Fire Stick app where shit's just fucking everywhere. I do kind of miss the UI for the Xbox, but
I hate the Fire Stick, man. It's gotten so bad.
But I mean, it was comparing to what I was paying for Xbox and not really using to free on the Fire Stick. I was like, it's a no-brainer.
Did you have to pay for Xbox Live for it?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. If you want access to all of the online stuff, you need to pay
no
Xbox
shit.
Live.
I just assumed that you could hook it up and you didn't need. That's it. I don't know. I fully converted over to Roku. I find it just a better streaming platform for me.
But I mean, I was paying for, Ultimate Game Pass, and then I was like, I'm never playing any of the games. I'm not on my Xbox playing it. I'm not playing them on my PC. So why the hell am I paying?
Sure.
And then they jacked the price again this month. So it's like, why am I paying for that?
Speaking of Xbox, Chris, I gotta send this to you. I laughed. I meant to send it to you. I saw like a YouTube video. It was Elden Ring as an '80s TV series.
Okay, I saw that too.
I loved it. I thought it was great. So, all right, that's all I got. So next month, man, we're finally fucking doing it. We are finally doing the Friday the 13th franchise.
I'm excited.
I am too.
Very excited.
Yes, me as well.
So
I guess we'll see you guys back next month. It'll be nice to actually, not that I don't enjoy talking to you guys every week, but 2 hours podcast for an hour TV show. I don't know. It feels like we talk about the show more than the show talks about itself.
we do better writing than they do.
Oh yeah, and the whole all of Game of Thrones too, and like just the mass of it. It's just like the more episodes they'll come out with or seasons, it'll like still always come back to, I don't know, the beginning. So, but I hear you. I'm excited. That's why I'm excited that there's only 8 episodes, because I have.
It's nice to have a night off a week. At least one.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you for coming along on this trip with us. We will see you back next month, which should be, if you're listening to this after it's been posted, September of 2024, where we go over the entire Friday the 13th franchise. And thank you for following us on Season 2 of House of the Dragon.
Smell you later.
Good night, guys.